Time to roll.
Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to North Courts. Today it's all things NBA and we are still riding the high of Meghan Buckets McPeak calling her first NBA game. Meghan, did you think you were calling Kyle Lowry's last game as a Raptor?
I mean, I was mentally preparing for it, but I honestly was not sure if this was going to be the last time that Kyle Lowry and for that matter, Norman Powell were wearing the Raptors uniform. I mean, full disclosure, you had to prepare for it, given the magnitude of the trade deadline the following day and the 3 p.m. deadline. But I honestly wasn't sure, but I had to make sure that we covered that and we gave him his flowers and we gave both of them their flowers. If it was the last chance that we did have to see them both in the uniform. For Raptors fans, they got to keep one of them. I know, a lot of people were disappointed to see Norm go, especially with the quick turnaround of him returning to Tampa in a different uniform, which was kind of weird, which we saw the other night. But I honestly wasn't sure if we were looking at the last time of Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell in Raptors uniform.
Meghan, you know what? We have to give you your flowers. It was extremely inspiring, especially for me, because I've seen you come from the minor leagues, working in NBL Canada, coming up in the 905 program and broadcasting there. And just to see you, I know I poke fun at you all the time, just to see the work you've put in and to hone your craft and really, own that moment. You guys did a tremendous job in just, educating and calling the game with this new audience. Again, basketball, the culture has grown with basketball here as well. And you guys hit that on the head, man. You guys educated, you guys, called the game seamlessly. So definitely have to tip my hat there. And I thought I had you when I gave you a text and asked you, how did that first hit go? And you text me back, what do you mean? Like, I'm built for this. I was like, okay, I guess it went well. But no, it was good, man. It was good. It was exciting. And you guys are definitely the voice of the new school. It was just great to see.
Cool
I appreciate that.
It's the only time I'm going to give you any love. So we're back to our banter.
It was cool seeing all the shout outs too, and one that stuck out to me was Nick Nurse talking pregame and how he's followed your career and how he admires everything that you've accomplished to this point. And he made a public, I don't know if you can call it a request, but he suggested that he'd love to work with you at his foundation. He admitted that he probably should have done it privately first, but now that he's put it out there, Meghan, what are your thoughts?
It's crazy because I actually put my headset on right as the question was being finished, so I didn't get to hear the full thing. And I heard him say my name, and I was like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen here. And he didn't realize that I was actually on the media availability at that time. So I did a one-on-one with him afterwards, and we talked about it. But I'm forever grateful for what he had to say. I'm honored that he wants to work with me. The true flowers and the true praise for this even happening, it has to go to John Wiggins of MLSE and the Toronto Raptors. Without him pushing for this to happen and having the brainchild of this idea of wanting to do this, the five of us would not have been in the position to be able to do it. So I'd like to give him his flowers in this moment.
I love the way the country stood behind you guys. I love the way the nation stood behind you guys, as well as like the sports world. I think the biggest shout out to me was the Sacramento Kings following suit right after. And that to me was huge, right? That meant that you guys, the Raptors made a step forward, but you guys took that and really did a good job with it. It was a testament to the work that you guys did, because everybody see that the job can be done. And that to me said the most.
Let's get into some basketball conversations now. So the Raptors keep Kyle Lowry, they trade Norman Powell. They don't address what's been a big weakness for them, the center position, which makes, I think, a conversation about Chris Boucher and what he can do for this team going forward all the more important. Meghan, let's start with you. What have you seen from him so far this season? Obviously a breakout year. And what are you hoping to see the rest of the way?
Well, I think for Boucher, it's really tough because a lot of the pressure is on his shoulders at that center position. And while he has performed really well in different situations and different matchups, I think he has also underperformed in different situations and different matchups. I just think that he needed to have someone in front of him consistently for at least 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, to where he can kind of watch the game play out. I know, Jevohn, you might even say the same thing with regards to when you can sit and watch what's happening and see how the game is played when you get to that professional level, especially at the NBA. Being able to watch the game does wonders for young players. And I think it would have done wonders for him. But at the same time, these are the cards that he's dealt, and he has to be able to adapt and be able to, change his game and change his mindset. And I think that's going to be what we see from him down the stretch and where we can see him from this season into next season.
And you know what, Meghan, to your point, I've been on both sides. I've been able to learn from veterans, and I've been in the situation where I was just thrown into the fire. I think in Boucher's case, it's great because he's able to learn in real time. And again, everything that Boucher does is what the Raptors needs. Now, going forward, he's already established that he can contribute, he can impact winning. He has to be able to do that on a consistent level. Now, the difference is going to be that you want to be a guy on opposing team scouting report that has an asterisk beside your name now, that we have to focus on you. We have to, take care of this guy and, get him out of the game in order for us to have an opportunity to win. I think that's where Boucher needs to take a step forward now in his game, not only just for the Raptors organization, but for his own career. Again, the Raptors have a hole, they have a void in the fact that they're last in rebounding in the league. Chris Boucher is an energy guy. He can get on the boards, and he's shown that he's done that at high levels. He has to continue to do that for his own growth again. At the beginning of the season, we've seen that, he signed his contract and we thought, hey, we got this guy for a steal. Well, now guess what? Boucher, there's another level for your own career. And in order for the Raptors to be successful, you're right, they haven't done much where buyouts are concerned as well as at trade deadline. So there's room for him there, and he has to continue to grow.
Now, someone who's had the focus on him throughout and has excelled regardless is Shai GilgeousAlexander. I mean, you think about Chris Paul moving on from OKC and all the pressure being on him. The efficiency that he's shown this season is incredible. Now, he's dealing with a plantar fascia issue. Al Horford has been shut down for the season. When we look at that situation, how serious is it a concern about Shai's health, not only for OKC and the Olympic qualifying tournament, but is this also a case of OKC just trying to shut it down and tank for the season? Jevohn, what are your thoughts?
This is a case of OKC protecting their investment. They've already shown us, they've told us, we've seen it, they're building around Shai. If you're looking at that, they're stacking up their first round, their lottery picks, their draft picks, second round and first round. Again, there's no need to put pressure on this guy to really stretch his body during this season because, again, it's a short and condensed season. They're not going to be in playoff contention. They're definitely not going to be in a championship contending team. Well, this is an opportunity for Shai to be able to step aside, get a little stronger, work on things that he needs to in order for them to build around him. And again, if you're looking at Shai from a selfish standpoint, if I was Shai, I would sit out and rest my body too. I'm that much closer to getting my bag, that much closer to getting a payday. Just stay healthy, stay safe, man.
I think I totally agree with Jevohn in the sense that I don't think this is the Thunder trying to tank for anything. They've put themselves in a great position when it comes to the draft and lottery picks and what have you. I think this is exactly what Jevohn said. They're protecting their investment. Also to note, Lou Dortz, another Canadian, is in concussion protocol. That was something that they were not preparing for. It's not something any team really prepares for when you think of it, but that's a huge void that they now have. I think they are protecting their players, which is what you should be doing and what they are doing. And they're thinking in the long term. At the end of the day, too, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about Boucher and having that veteran presence. Shai GilgeousAlexander sitting on the bench, watching the NBA, that's a problem for the rest of the NBA. Because now you're giving this kid the ability to see things that he might not have been able to see in real time. And that's not a discredit to his basketball IQ because the kid's basketball IQ is through the roof. This is now giving him a chance that he's going to see the game from another layer of the game of basketball. And that can be dangerous for opposing defenses when he does come back, especially when he comes back healthy.
And to your point, Meghan, he's coming back as a problem child because he's getting both sides of what we said. Last year he had the veteran leadership of Chris Paul and that mentorship there who really took him under his wing. And then, this year they pretty much said, here's the ball, here's the keys to this team, run with it. So he's getting, he got the veteran leadership and now he's getting the real-time experience. Sit back and relax.
When both of you talk about someone finding another level, the first thing that comes to mind is Bubble Jamal. I mean, he went off in the postseason last year. We're hoping to see the same this time around. And the Nuggets, they got themselves some help. They got Aaron Gordon in. They were missing that void with the departure of Jeremy Grant. How much does this push the Nuggets as a contender, and how much does this affect Jamal's status with Team Canada?
Well, I mean, like when you think of Team Canada, I wasn't expecting Jamal Murray to be on the qualifying roster whatsoever, whether they got Aaron Gordon at the trade deadline or not. I was expecting the Denver Nuggets to be in the playoffs and possibly make a long run. I definitely think that this addition of Aaron Gordon actually benefits not only Jamal Murray, but it also benefits Nikola Jokic and the entire Denver Nuggets. When they came into that game against Toronto, they were gassed. That was the second night of a back-to-back. I was talking with one of my very good friends who's long time in the NBA. He actually called that. This is going to be an ugly game and Denver's going to lose. He called it before that game even happened. We were talking about it when I knew which game I was going to do, and that was about a week and a half before that game happened. They are gassed right now, especially with the quick turnaround of that long run in the playoffs, taking 2 series to 7 games and having to put out the energy he did. I think this addition of Aaron Gordon benefits them all, but I do not at all expect to see Jamal Murray in a Canadian uniform come Victoria in June. I'm sorry, Canadian fans, it's not going to happen. They're going to keep him in Denver, and that kid's going to make a run in the playoffs with the Denver Nuggets.
I agree with Meghan, because when you're looking at this team right now with the addition of Aaron Gordon, they're just building off of last year, and now you're adding depth. You're adding a player. You're adding a player to this group. And if you're looking at the standings right now, you have LA, who has to get their rhythm going and get healthy. You have a Clippers team. Clippers is a regular season team, and then you have Utah. Denver already has Utah's number. So if you're looking at if you're expecting Murray as in the Olympic qualifiers, like Meghan said, I don't see it happening because I expect them to make a deep push into the playoffs.
So the NBA playoffs start May 22nd. The Olympic qualifying tournament begins June 23rd. Let's get into our starting fives and who we see right now starting for Canada in that qualifying tournament. Meghan, let's start with you. How do you see these 7 to 10 seeds playing out, and maybe who are you ruling out because of it?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially when you think of the fact we're talking about this, a month and a half prior to the playoffs. We still don't know what that play-in tournament is going to look like, who's going to be in it, who's going to be out of it. And then also 2 injuries. I mean, I had Shai GilgeousAlexander on my roster, and now he's out with the plantar fascia injury. You don't know how long that's going to be at the end of the day. If that means he's not on my roster, I'm cool with that because I want him to be healthy, period. Whether that's for Team Canada or for the OKC Thunder. I also had RJ Barrett. Right now, the Knicks are looking like a playoff team. They're in the playoffs currently in the East. That's how crazy this is. And then I also have Andrew Wiggins because right now, obviously, Golden State is on the outside looking in. And I'd love to see him in a Canadian uniform and be able to take what he's done with the Golden State Warriors, kind of revamping his career, if you will, and be able to implement that with Team Canada because it's something that I think Canadian fans and basketball fans in Canada have been wanting and begging him for to do. And then I also have Melvin Ejim. I apologize on that one, who's been fantastic in his play overseas, absolutely just lighting up the hoop. And as well, too, I have Kem Birch from Orlando. They're also right now on the outside looking in, obviously with the fact that they lost Vucevic, as well as Aaron Gordon. I don't see them in the playoffs or in the play-in whatsoever. So I definitely can see him being on the Canadian roster. But it's going to be so interesting to see how this plays out in the next month and a half. And I mean, at the end of the day, who's our head coach going into that one if the Raptors are in the play-in tournament or if they slip into that 8 or 7 spot?
And like Meghan said, there's so many moving pieces. It's really hard to determine who's going to be in that Olympic qualifying tournament picture right now. So for me, I just went with guys that are, some international flavor, as well as some guys that aren't going to be in any playoff contention right now. So I went with Kevin Pangos, who's he's pretty much a top 3 point guard internationally right now. He's played EuroLeague, played at some really good levels, and his Gonzaga team is still in. His former college, rather, is still in the NCAA tournament, so we have to tip our hat there. Shai GilgeousAlexander, we know all about him, Lugan Dortz. And I went with Kelly Olynyk, he's been Mr. Basketball Canada. He was also a rookie and my roommate his freshman year, so I always have a soft spot for him. And he's always answered the call when Canada Basketball has reached out to him. So I think he'll definitely be there. And Andrew Nicholson, many people probably are familiar with him. His time at St. Bonaventure, was drafted, had a cup of coffee in the NBA, but he's had an amazing career. He's over in Asia right now. And in my opinion, he's the best scoring big man in Canadian basketball right now. That's including NBA guys as well as international guys. So, but you know what, the thing with this thing is that you have to have a wide pool of players, and Canada's at a point right now where you can pick guys from overseas, you can pick guys from in the NBA, but just having that deep pool is important in any international FIBA play.
Yeah, for me, I ruled out RJ Barrett. I ruled out Andrew Wiggins. I think it's going to be too tight of a turnaround for them. So I've got Corey Joseph stepping in there. I've got Chris Boucher in there. And I think Nick Nurse is going to be coaching that team because right now it's not looking good for the Raptors. I know, come at me in the mentions. It's fine. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and let us know who you think should be in that starting five for Canada at the Olympic qualifying tournament.